Thanks, Laughton. Great to have you here. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Now, Laughton's dressed specially for the occasion, which is fantastic. I'm a bit overdressed, you're a bit underdressed. That's okay. Laughton's got some very important stuff to talk to us about. Now, apart from everything else, Laughton's dyslexic, which I suppose is part of what he's actually talking about today. For those people that maybe don't understand, what is dyslexia?
Dyslexia is totally and utterly misunderstood.
Thank you. Laughton King.
Now, most people think that dyslexia is a reading and writing problem.
Yeah.
And from my experience, I have to say it's not.
It's sort of getting things a bit confused in your mind.
That is what people see, so that's what they think dyslexia is. In actual fact, I believe that dyslexia is the inability to use self-talk inside your head to process information. And this is why it has such a huge impact on a child's education, as well as their behaviour. And the reading and writing is just one small presentation.
Okay. Now, I've actually got a riddle for you. What do you get when you cross an insomniac, an agnostic, and a dyslexic? Anybody know? You get somebody who can't go to sleep because they're pondering the existence of dog.
Can I meet you on that?
Yeah, okay, go on.
What does DNA stand for?
DNA. Is it deoxyribonucleic? I don't know. What's DNA?
National Dyslexia Association.
Ah, right. Of course. Laughton, the other thing I had to ask you, your first name is spelt Laughton, Laughton. Well, why is that?
Yeah, well, I often wondered when I was a kid, because my childhood was so miserable, I never ever laughed. In fact, I had to teach myself to smile by going to drama classes when I was about 22.
2 years ago.
So, he's so lovely, isn't he?
So did you change the name yourself?
No, actually my first name was Arthur.
Okay.
And in the late 1940s, that was not a choice name. And Laughton is my second name, and I like that.
Fantastic.
I do like it, yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Laughton King. He's going to be talking to you about the topic, the language of parenting, does it really work? Take centre stage, it's all yours.
Thank you.
Oh,
yes.
I got these for you.
The drawing machines.
Now, can you tell the colours, or is that not a problem with dyslexia? Sorry,
He doesn't know how right he is because I'm also 100% colourblind. But if you don't know, we won't worry. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Greetings from New Zealand. Yes, I am from the little country across the ditch. And yes, we are your sibling country. Being a sibling country, we fight like mad on the sports field. But also being like siblings, we're as tight as siblings, and we look after each other. And I think it is so neat that you let little brother from across the ditch be the first speaker today, and I hope to be able to contribute something to what I see as a bit of a dilemma. Speakers already, I like that one. We'll see how it works. Speakers have already talked about the difficulty of working with foster children. And first of all, I have to say, I absolutely take my hat off to you people. You stand up where others walk out. You volunteer your time as carers and as foster parents. And I've never been a foster parent, but I've worked with them all my professional life, and I really take my hat off to you. So good on you. Yes, these kids sometimes are a handful. In New Zealand, the average number of placements per child is 6, but some up to 30 placements. And they can bring baggage. They can bring huge baggage. In New Zealand right at the moment, the government is proposing to spend $18 million on conduct disorder children. Now, some people think that's a great idea. I do not. I think this is going to be a waste of $18 million. And I'm going to spend the next 45 minutes, or an hour, if you'll let me have that time, to explain what I mean here. Because I have this question. Does the language of our parenting really work? Oh, by the by, just before we go on, has anybody here got a diesel? Anybody drive a diesel? A diesel 4x4? Yes? Anybody got a diesel car? You got a diesel car? Can I have a loan of it afterwards? I need one for the weekend. I promise I'll tank it up when I've finished. Yeah, you all just do a little tweak in your thinking. What happens if we put petrol into a diesel engine? Ooh, you've done it, have you? Who's? Oh, down the front here, she's the one. Don't lend her your car. Yeah, we all know what happens if you put petrol into a diesel engine. But here's a strange question. Do we blame the car? No, we do not blame the car. We blame the clown who puts the petrol in. Yeah, okay, you just keep that one in mind. I come from a little town way in the north of New Zealand called Whangarei. And Whangarei, kia ora, has a beautiful little harbour in the middle of the town, 14 kilometres from the sea, and lots of overseas yachts come in because it's very protected from the elements. And I was down on the wharf there one day, because I'm a sailor from way back, and a big American yacht came in, 70, 80 feet, dropped his sails, started the motor, came into the jetty. The guy threw me a line, I tied it up. He threw me another line, I tied it up. He got off his boat, and he walked down the wharf to me with his hand out, and we shook hands, and he opened the conversation by saying, "We've come here to die." Whoa. A lot of people come to New Zealand to visit, some to tour, some to live. He's the only person I've ever met who said straight off that he's come to die. And I did what psychologists do when we're stuck and don't know what to say. I said, "Tell me more about that." He looked at me strange. He says, "Well, we just sailed down the coast yesterday, and we've just come in here to die." True story, absolutely true story. Yeah. I'm not saying where he came from. You see, the point being is when we communicate, we have a frame of reference in our mind, we have a message, and we deliver our message knowing full well what we are saying. But the poor person on the other end is receiving that message, and they receive in the context of their own experience, knowledge, and history. And when we receive, we may be distorting the message that left. Who is to blame? Nobody is to blame. And I put it to you that there might be some little thing that is getting in the way of our parenting, of our effectiveness as parents, that could be making the job of foster caring a little more difficult than it needs to be. That's what I want to share with you. Now, I've got to start off by saying nothing, absolutely nothing that I'm sharing with you today is scientifically proven. I'm making it all up. But I'm making it up from 60 years of being a dyslexic myself. I am dyslexic, my little boy is dyslexic, and I've lived with it all my time. I've worked for the last 35 years with dyslexic children, with their learning and with their behavior. So that's where I'm coming from. You just have a look at it. If it works for you, then you take it home. It's a little gifty from across the ditch. Okie dokie, let's do the serious business. This is a lesson in neurology. We're going to start having a look at the language of parenting. But first of all, hope that thing works. Yeah, that'll do. My wife, Natalie, does the covers of my books, and they're out there in the foyer, because I can't deal with 60 years of stuff here. And my wife, Natalie, is a brilliant artist, and I am almost as good. The human body, if we split it down the middle, left and right, open it up, is pretty boring because it's pretty much the same both sides. But if we take our hacksaw and we whip it across the top there, and we have a look at this area, it gets to be rather exciting. You see, over here we have the right brain, and over here we have the left brain. These two little tennis ball type things just above your eyes. That is where all your conscious thinking occurs. If we're looking straight down, there's the neck at the back, a couple of ears on the side if you're lucky, a couple of eyes, and we have the big brain at the back, that's your unconscious brain, and we have the two frontal hemispheres at the front, connected by the corpus callosum. We have the right, we have the left, and generally speaking, this is where all of your conscious thinking occurs. Now, just by chance, this is another little interesting bit, If a person is right-eyed, right-handed, and right-footed, consistently right-sided, they tend to be left-brained. Now, that is the case for about 85% of, in New Zealand, we would say our Pākehā population, the European side. The other 15% are not left, left, and left. Sorry for those of you who thought you were consistently left-sided. Some are. But it is more often the case that a person, the 15% that was still left over looking for a home, the 15% are more likely to be a mixture of left and right. And just by classic demonstration, the person might be right-eyed, right-handed, and left-footed. That, my friends, tends to put them into right brain thinking. That becomes particularly significant for what I want to share with you today. Now, just take note, none of this is scientifically proven or anything. If any neurologist there starts storming out, that's fine. So we have the two brains, the left brain and the right brain, and a bit of a connection in the middle. And you're asking, so what do these brains do? Fair enough question. The right brain for today is the brain that is pictorial in its style. It also tends to be the hands-on brain. It tends to be the emotional brain, the creativity, the artistic, the human, the humour brain, the spontaneity, spiritual, sensual, sexual. All of those tend to be in your right brain. And the other? L stands for left, and L stands for language. And I'm generalizing like crazy here because I've only got a small amount of time, but this is your language brain. Your left brain is your language brain. Those of you out there, and I can't see you all because of the spotlights, those of you out there who are women, you have an advantage over those of us who are not yet women. In that, in your left brain, you have got 8 subsections that can deal with language independently. And this is why you tell us, as men, that you can multitask. Well, good on you. You are wired to multitask. You're like an octopus. So stop skiting about it. You see, because us blokes, we have a small disadvantage in that we only have one